Hello, I'm Roshni Ribbon and today I'm just going to be rambling about a webcomic I want to make. If you're new here, I'm a drawer and I mostly make OC animatics on my channel. I'm splitting this video into two parts. The first part I'll talk about the plot and characters of my comic, and the second part will be about this mini comic I made and the speed paints of that comic is playing in the background. So far with the webcomic I'm in the script stage, but I want to start it at least this year. Okay, here's the plot. The story is about guardian angels who live in the clouds and they travel down to Earth because their job is to take care of humans. The guardian angels are dressed as nurses because it represents how their job is about healing. In the clouds they live in an area called the Daydream Hospital. A very important emotion they must learn is happiness, but they can't just give happiness to humans out of nowhere. It's like how energy can't be created or destroyed. They need to do positive things that will make themselves happy. The happiness is a physical thing that they collect and they turn it into gifts and objects that make humans happy, which they call medicine. Another reason why it's written like this is because they need to make themselves happy before passing it on to humans, because it can represent how self-care is important, as caring for your friends. For the main characters we have Nurse Perma, whose name is short for permanently shocked, and Nurse Temper, whose name is short for temporarily stoked. Stoked means happy or excited. Perma is really bad at positive emotions. Most of his emotions are shock or anxiety, which isn't ideal for his job, so his co-worker Temper must help him, because Temper is really good at emotions and he studies how humans work. And of course they're both in love with each other. I'm purposefully withholding a lot of information because I don't want to spoil the entire comic, but there's a lot more world building and side characters involved. Next I'm going to analyse the character design choices I made when I drew both of them. Perma has a plus sign as his main symbol and Temper has a cross sign. However, their eye symbols are switched and also their eye colours are each other's main colours. This is because they have their eyes on each other because they're so in love with each other. Temper also has a plus sign on the heart pattern of his dress to represent his crush on Perma, and Perma's ribbon bandage on his hair makes a cross, because it's like the area where his brain is and is to represent how his mind is full of temper. And lastly, Temper has an eye patch but he never wears it as one. It was given to him as a uniform and he repurposed it as a headband. And also the guardian angels have a very loose perspective on gender expression. That's why Temper dresses really feminine, because the angels don't really care about gender roles. I also want to mention that I always describe them as magical boys, but they're not like traditional magic boys in the sense that they don't transform or have familiars. I just call them that because of the aesthetic, and I love magical girl animes. Now finally I can talk about the mini comic. I decided to draw it as practice because I realised I've never made a fully coloured comic page since I was like a child. I've only done sketches or doodle comics. I've been scared of drawing a whole page because I felt like I'd be struggling on it. But then I decided to sit down and actually just do it, and it helped me get over the fear. So if you're scared of starting a big project, just do a small part of it and it can help you get over the fear and you can make mistakes. And then when it's all finished, you can be more motivated to keep going. Okay, here's a mini comic. It has a cover page that says Nurse Nurse Love on it. And in the first page we have Perma looking down at his bag and he's saying my bag is overflowing with happiness. Then someone off screen says Perma and he looks over. In the next page, Perma looks up and he sees his friend Temper, who calls out to him. He shyly greets Temper, and Temper asks him, "What are you doing here?" To which he gets confused because he thought that they were arranged to be together. Temper cheekily laughs and then he hugs him. Perma pauses as he takes in what he said, and then he gets embarrassed and screams from embarrassment while Temper screams from excitement. Temper apologizes for teasing him and then they go on their way. And here's the end cover. They have giant syringes that they fly around like a broomstick because of the magical boy aesthetic. They can also float around using their hair, but it depends on how skilled they are, and Perma isn't really that good at flying. Their hair length doesn't matter to flying, but symbolically it shows how Temper is very flowy and confident at flying, while Perma is more stiff. Like Temper's hair is never stationary, it's always moving around. And it's not from the wind or anything, he's just doing it on his own. I might cut back on that in the main comic so it's not very distracting, and he might only do it when he's happy or just around Perma. In the actual main comic, I definitely would try on drawing backgrounds better. Here I just didn't have any ideas for it because they live in the sky, so the only environment around them is just clouds. But I think I should try to design the fantasy environment. And lastly, I just want to show some behind the scenes when I was making the mini comic because it did struggle a bit. Here's what the first page originally looked like until I realised I should make it bigger and more detailed. And here's what page 4 originally looked like because I was starting to hate it, but I wondered if I should restart it. And then I did restart it and now it's my favourite page. And lastly, here's the chaos behind me trying to design this Temper. Perma's design was pretty solid from the beginning. Here's the first time I ever drew him when I wasn't even planning on making him a comic character, he was just an OC I made. Then I redrew him in my new style, and here we are now when I tweaked a few things so he can look like a more interesting main character. Originally he had stars on his outfit, but I removed it because it had nothing to do with him as a character, and it didn't explain anything about the story. Of course you can't have characters that wear outfits just because it looks nice, because not everything has to mean something, but I just didn't want to keep redrawing the stars for every single panel, and it felt like an unnecessary design choice. I think I do like how their designs look currently, but I might tweak it again when I design the reference sheets for the main comic. I try to post more animatics of these two, or of my other two OCs who are really tragic losers and I hate them so much and the story is so long and for what. I don't know if I'm gonna make a rambling video about those two just because I like keeping most of their lore secret and I only want to reveal parts of it through animatics, but I might make an introduction video to them for people to watch. Okay, that was a tangent. Another thing I want to say is that I'm not going to post this comic as I work on it because it feels really stressful. I'm most likely going to draw a large chunk of the comic and then start posting it online. So it'll take longer for the story to be public, but at least the upload schedule will be consistent. That's all I have to say about this silly story. Thank you so much for making it to the end, and goodbye.